Hello everybody, it is I, Noob Mister. This is the Game Time podcast where at this point in time it really doesn't matter what we talk about because people are still not listening to this.
But still, it's a thing we're gonna follow through anyway.
Yes,
just like
because
with D&D.
it's something
Except with D&D, we're enjoying it.
Yes. I want to do it because this is something that I want to keep doing. Because you enjoy it, I enjoy it. Why stop?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have worded it that way, but at least I know that you also enjoy this and that. Anyway, continuing on.
Yes, so yes, this is Micset. He is the squeaky Cheeto. He is gracing us with his presence and his award-winning D&D acting skills.
Oh, jeez, you're already bringing that up.
Yes, I'm already bringing that up. So, considering you were the one who decided...
Did I really affect you that badly?
Well, you know what? Let's set some context for everybody.
Okay.
Considering that you were the one who did the whole thing, why don't you explain it to them?
So, in a previous session, where all of our characters, except for two, were asleep, Noob Mister's character, Sylvanas...
Hey, you pronounced it correctly.
Thank you, Sylvanas. Ass.
Ass. Ah, he shot me in the ass!
Anyway, he, gets up to talk to some sort of, I suppose, entity?
It's basically the demon that I've got a contract with that gives me my warlock powers, basically. It's the standard thing with all, D&D warlocks. They've got to have, like, some sort of otherworldly demon or deity that they can commune with, basically, so...
And we were all trying to roll out, save things or whatever it was so we could have our characters, hear this conversation. I was the only one that apparently succeeded due to two reasons. One, I got a low roll, and I justified... Keen got hit. He's probably not sleeping well.
What did you get hit by again? I can't remember.
That big robotic showdown.
That big entity thing we found under the chapel.
I really loved that moment because I really like it when medieval like fantasy suddenly finds itself out of its roots and the characters are now like in a weird reality. Like the whole time just changed.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that bit was a little bit out of place, but it works for the plot, and apparently Sacrius wasn't even planning for us or really kind of expecting us to find it. It was only because one of us rolled a really good investigation roll that we even found that thing in the first place.
I hope he was at least expecting us to make it out alive.
Yeah,
and God damn it!
If I hadn't rolled that... Yes?
I'm sure I probably would have failed, or it would have been impossible, but I still would have loved to have a chance to at least see if I could just reason with this thing. It's my instinct to try and talk my way out of things before fighting. It's like when I play games like Mass Effect, or whatever these other games where there is a skill, like in Fallout, there's a skill that further boosts your likelihood or dialogue options to get things your way without even fighting. I will invest in those primarily.
Well, not this time you didn't, because Thal saw it and went, smashy smashy, or slashy slashy in this case, because he just whipped out his great axe and just bopped it over the head. Or in the chin.
Yeah.
But yes, as you were saying, we got attacked by a construct, you were hurting, you heard me talking to myself in the mirror, or talking to my demon deity.
Yep,
thing.
So Keem listened in, and, well, kind of like me, actually like me after the whole session ended, I was scared still am kind of scared as hell of the potential betrayal that's going to happen. And both Keem and I, if it happens, I can't bring myself or my character to fight Noob Mister's character because Noob Mister's behind the character. And I worked it all together, and I just had this emotional moment where Keen just breaks down. He first starts with just simply asking a favor. He wants to let him know that he heard, but he first wants to ask a favor that he's more concerned with at first, making sure that him and his friends don't die off and disappear without a blip on the world radar. So he asks to pass on the notes that he's always, been writing down and obsessing over of learning things about this land that he's visited. And even though he's asking this to someone who he's suspecting to betray, he just can't help but ask him anyway and be sincere before revealing by simply saying, "I'm sure it wasn't your reflection you were talking to that night."
And then there was also a load of sad music playing in the background as well.
Yeah, and
And
I
I
asked
will
for it.
admit, I was sitting there with that over the top anime I'm trying not to cry face.
And I like how at the start when I asked for the emotional music and when it came on, um, they were snickering at first because I was thinking I was gonna do a comedic route with it. But boy, I'm glad I actually managed to hit them in the feels, especially Newbie here. Uh,
The feels were hit and they were felt.
mm, right down to me. I was actually sobbing halfway through because I'm easily emotional and I feel what I try to
I
emote.
honestly thought you were going to burst into tears. I really did
I
feel like you were going to
I
start
did.
crying.
I'm not sure if you heard it in the stream, but after it was all over and I wrote character, you could hear the sound of my tissue box. Like you could hear me reaching over, and then you'd hear a that. And my goodness, I'm so glad I didn't fuck that up. I was worried I was gonna stutter because, again, ever since it came to my mind of that emotional moment I really wanted to have with Noob Mister, I found myself talking to myself because again I live alone. I found myself talking to myself and rehearsing. And I was like, come on, Matt, don't fuck this up. Don't let anything change it. Just try and stick with it.
Just stick
Right
to the
down to
script!
right down to saying that I would rather kneel and await his blade or something rather than stand up to him and lay a claw on him and have to choose between him and his other friends.
Yeah, well,
He would rather let him
needless to say,
decide.
I was given something by Sacrios that basically outlined the whole thing. I'm just like, and he just said, "Don't tell anybody about anything that is written on that handout you just received."
And still don't, okay?
It's a bit like the fact that you've also been given something that we don't know about. Because we ended up entering into a wardrobe dimension, and several people got bitch slapped by a wardrobe door skeleton thing.
Yeah, and
I'm still trying to process what actually went on in that thing.
lots of Sacrius moments. Sacrius just makes the whole thing bizarre, and I'm actually starting to warm up to it. I still cringe. I still say fucking hell, Sacrius, why? But I still just go, I'm enjoying myself.
Because it's just so ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. And again, Sacrius by default, the way he speaks, and again, I don't mean offense, but it's the best way I can describe him. He sounds like someone who's trying to act but has no idea how to act, but that's just how he sounds like by default, at least with his tone
Yeah,
to
but
me.
there were times when I was sitting there thinking, if I'm going to run my own D&D campaign, I was just imagining what Sacrios was going to be like, and the fact that I would sit there and try and take the piss out of it at some point. Like the first character they meet is going to be like, "Oh, adventurers! It's time to go do the thing," and then later on I'd be breaking into all these different voices like, "Hey up, Squire, how you doing? Here, what you doing here? What you doing here? I'm just gonna bop you ones on the head. I'm a tiny little imp. Please don't hurt me."
And now I need that tissue. Hold on. My goodness.
The grand sound effects of Micset blowing his nose.
I'm so sorry. I should have muted myself, but I couldn't breathe from my nose and it was irritating. Anyway, I may have kind of recovered from my cold, but I'm still feeling the aftermath of it. Fucking nose. Disgusting. Anyway, I wanted to mention, but we veered off track there for a second. I also was happy and proud that I worked. What I used as the conversation starter. I was gonna have Keem ask it regardless, but I found that that what happened with poor Morith almost dying was a was the perfect conversation starter as to why Keem would ask so soon. Seeing Morith almost die, the dog that
Yeah, that
Keem
you've effectively become a bard slash beastmaster, a beast tamer at this point.
well, based on what the video that Sakura showed me, bards are apparently a jack of all trades. Am
I
I
think I
wrong?
do remember him saying that.
But anyways, after that whole thing, I really did see, and I really like how some of you even reacted to when I was actually shouting as Keem, being 100. I actually used my real shouting voice. My like I was like really angry. Like you could hear frustration and whatnot
Yeah, I
because
was actually just like, whoa, he's really getting into this. A
hey,
little
what was the line I
worryingly
said?
so, actually.
What was the line I said?
I can't
That
remember. You were just so enraged as Keem that you tried to attack the goblin who had previously was trying to shoot Thal, but ended up shooting me in the shoulder because I jumped in front of the bullet.
no. Oh, you died, no, but I don't think I was really feeling it. No.
Now, driver, give me 20!
Oh shoot! I really wish I could remember what that line was. It was,
I've recorded it, so I can probably recount it. No problem.
but yeah, I went from going this and all that to suddenly, no, I will kill you for this.
Yeah, and like I said, the transition was so jarring and so polar opposite. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
And now I'm having to figure out what I'm gonna have to do next D&D session when Keem finally comes back to Maury fully rested and all healed. I'm gonna have to have Keem decide if he's still gonna let Maurice travel along or follow through what he was going to originally do before.
Buy some medical supplies.
Yeah, but the other
All
one
I
was
will say is because from what I've read on D&D rules and stuff, with medical supplies, if you use them on a downed character, I think it like gets them into a stable state without having to roll medicine.
all right. I'll be
So
sure to do that too. But I'm gonna have Keem possibly reconsider actually giving him a new owner so he doesn't die. That and well, I also see it at two one benefit and one downside for both ways. The good side is, of course, we have an extra person to help us fight and is a nice loyal companion. The
hmm.
downside is if that loyal companion gets hurt, Keem loses it. He recklessly attempted to attack, and he's terrible at strength. I knew this, but
You really need to learn some like more offensive cantrip spells or something, just so that you can just point your finger at somebody and go, "Fuck you." Have Ray of Frost in your face.
and Keem might actually consider that now since he realized he wasn't able to. He potentially could have lost more than just Morif since he was unable to hit that goblin guy. But yeah, and again, um, I knew that it was a bad move to try and melee attack when I could have done anything else, but I I totally would have done the same thing. All sense of understanding or whatever the word is,
Reasoning?
reasoning would just go out the window when your emotions hit hard like that.
Hmm. Then again, you were during one of the last sessions, you were trying to find a crossbow or something, just some sort of ranged weapon.
Hmm. I probably
I'm
should have done that
assuming
at the
Keem's got a
market.
very high dexterity stat, isn't he?
Yes, pretty high.
Really, mine's not really that good. I think mine's like all I know is that I'm only getting a +1 bonus on dexterity rolls.
Oh, and I'm so happy that I didn't get a bad roll with using the instruments.
Yeah, because he's meant to be a bard, so he's meant to be good at that kind of thing. But
And
he
the first
wasn't.
time I got to use it was I ended up angering irritating a dwarf.
And I
And
tried to intimidate him, failed the roll, and just ended up getting booped on the nose.
and I heard Thal call Keem a friend for the first time.
It was such a
And
tender moment.
and again, the defense wouldn't have been necessary because Keem would be smirking and agreeing, going like, "Yeah, I probably should have adjusted this thing before I decided to play it."
Even if you had decided to do that, the roll probably still would have been bad because the gods of RNG decided,
No,
nah,
yeah,
we're
I
just
know,
gonna
but I'm
screw with the
saying that since
kobold.
I got a bad roll, I can just easily say, "Yeah, Keem probably forgot to tune the thing." And God damn it, I knew that Thal. I was expecting it from Secrius, but I also was half expecting it from Thal, and it did happen because we did have him mention some weird what the fuck songs that you hear that are memed to this century. Not in fantasy. And one of them was hey, by the way, Keem, can, can you play what my mom used to play for me? Play Despacito.
I need to go and look up that song because I'm just sitting there thinking, why is everybody talking about Despacito?
I have no idea. It's even gotten so bad that they're just using it. Like for example, there was that I showed you that the fall of '76, and there was a joke where it was gonna go Alexa play this song, but except it was some sort of sandwich it was sandwich toaster oven thing, and it goes this is getting depressing. Despacito, play Country Roads. Two jokes into one.
Yep.
Despacito play this? Oh my god. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually follow through with making an Alexa called Despacito. Or Despamimo as a
Despamimo,
memes.
yeah, it's like Alexis and the Google Hub, but instead you just tell it to start playing or reciting memes, and it'll start doing that, and then won't stop until you
And replace
unplug
certain
it.
words like when it says yes, it will just say bruh.
Bruh. Alexa, all lights on. Sorry, it just reminded me of a video where somebody posted on Twitter where a parrot had heard somebody saying that so many times that him just saying, Alexa, all lights on, and then of course he goes, okay, because that's what Alexa says, and then suddenly the lights turn on. Alexa says, okay, and then the parrot just bobs his head up and down as if to say, yeah, I turned the lights on.
You gotta show me
The
that
comment
video.
on the comment on the tweet was he'll be ordering his own seed bills next.
I won't be surprised if that actually happens. I gotta tell my mom about this because my mom has a lot of birds. Oh hell, I'll tell my big brother because they've got a lot of birds in there too.
Lots of birdies.
Because you know that the bird is the word. Bird is the word. Oh
Don't
shit! I
start
got you.
singing that. I'm gonna get a copyright strike.
That's actually no joke. That's still a thing.
I know
Oh
it
my
is,
goodness.
but still, YouTube might be listening. I mean, apparently they are
Ah,
listening to people complaining about my channel membership perks. Because here's the funny thing: when I was setting up my channel, or when I was thinking about stuff to add for my channel membership perks, I decided, you know what? Maybe I should start doing Steam key giveaways. Only thing was, reading their terms of service, they say nothing like contests or raffles or anything in which one person is chosen at random and not everybody has the chance to get the reward. Now, granted, with giveaways, once the Steam key has been used, that's it, nobody else can use it. But in this situation, it was there available for anybody to grab. So it wasn't like I was only picking a certain number of people to use it. But here's the thing, I put it forward and sort of sent it off to YouTube to get reviewed. Because if they didn't approve of it, then I would just have simply removed it. But the thing was, when I sent it off to get approved, they were just like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine." I was just like, "Oh, okay then." And then, like during this week, apparently I got an email through from YouTube saying, "Oh, we've had several complaints about your perks, so we've had to disable them temporarily until you've resubmitted them for another review and edited them." And I'm just like, "But you were the ones who said it was okay in the first place. Why
Did you
change
make
your
sure to
minds
forward the
now?"
message? Did you make sure to forward that message?
No, I just went, you know what, I'm just going to take it off. I'm not going to anger YouTube because I don't want to lose my channel. But yeah, it's just annoying. YouTube, what I was doing was not right, then you should have told me before I submitted it, or when I submitted it, or just be fucking consistent, will you?
And not contradictory.
Exactly. I'm really starting to think that if Twitch ever decided to allow people to monetize videos and start doing what YouTube is doing, everybody is just going to go to fucking Twitch. Because, yeah, Twitch has its own problems and they do contradict themselves quite a lot. But, in all fairness, they're doing better than what YouTube's doing, and they actually understand streaming a lot better as well. Instead of it just being a tacked on extra that YouTube threw at us.
And YouTube's definitely not helping with it. Again, I've heard that payment-wise, it's very poor to do a series like, say, even gameplay, and the ad revenue, the payback, or whatnot is terrible compared to other platforms. But they're doing it even worse. I've just recently heard that um, consistently violent video games will be also demonetizable, which means all the Dead by Daylight players that primary YouTube are now forced to move over to Twitch. I've noticed this because even this guy that usually does these very good in-depth reviews of the perks, changes, and the playable test build and whatnot, I've noticed that his Patreon's been showing up more lately, and his Twitch, and he even admitted why, because he knows that this change of YouTube is coming, which means he can't rely on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. I've been sitting here thinking, maybe in future I should try thinking about maybe posting stuff on Twitch instead. To try and build an audience up there and get it to the point where I can become a partner there, rather than constantly relying on YouTube all the time. I mean, that's primarily the reason why I stream on Twitch in the evenings. Because, you know, the whole analogy of don't put all your eggs in one basket, well, that's just me. That's just me attempting to not put all my eggs in one basket. I'm trying to branch out. But people aren't, but it's not proving to be exactly very easy. Especially considering that I don't tend to play a lot of the trendy games. So, because I've tried playing Fortnite and yeah, it was.
I'm sure someone's asked you this before, and I think I've even asked you this before. But have you tried Apex Legends? I haven't played it.
I haven't either, and to be perfectly honest, at this point, I'm just like, I haven't played it, and I'm not really into battle royale games anyway because I don't like the idea of, you know, being downed or killed and then having to queue up and wait for yet another match.
I don't know how that works. Again, I haven't seen much gameplay, but I keep hearing the same thing from everyone else. What all the battle royale games wish they were. They could be right if they're all saying it. And also, it kind of the one thing that makes it a lot easier in pubs, from what I've heard, it's the same reason why, for example, Left 4 Dead worked very well. The characters automatically verbally speaking out things passively through pings and all that. Like again, I think I've mentioned this before, but when the ring's about to close in, one of the four random party members, oh sorry, I think it's three party members, vocally says this, and it's added onto another line if they're close to where it's going to close in, or if they're far out. Like for example, I watched a few gameplays and I hear this guy saying, Ring's about to close in 30 seconds. We're far away out. We better get moving. Or I hear an alternate line where it says, Ring's about to close in 30 seconds. We're close enough. And even one saying, Ring's about to close in 30 seconds. We're in position. We're fine. And I've even seen things like, for example, this guy gets almost gets shot by obviously a sniper round, and the character automatically vocalizes shit sniper, and the moment he decides to immediately fire back, the character again automatically says returning fire. And I even seen one saying booking in it when they start sprinting away.
Well, wouldn't you if somebody started shooting at you and you didn't know where they were?
And again, a lot of audio feedback because I'm pretty sure they know that a lot of people don't, in pubs, don't want to vocally communicate because they're worried about it's like, dude, shut up, we know, or dude, you're not saying it right, or dude, that's not the right area, or whatnot, or saying, you mean this, or you mean that, and getting into an argument rather than doing teamwork.
Yeah,
Or,
basically
dude, you sound
arguing with
fucking
your
annoying.
teammates rather than actually being teammates.
And for those who play Warframe a lot, seem to forget that it has a voice communication thing. But how many pubs have you been in and people actually speak? I actually had that happen a few days ago. I joined a random team, and in the loading screen I could hear that they were talking. Last time I heard that was literally a year and a half ago, and I play Warframe a lot.
Yeah, I've started playing Warframe a lot as well. In fact, I actually tried signing up for their partnership program to see if they would accept me. Doubtful, but
Yeah, always try, and I hope you do get it
yeah. I mean,
because it's a game you
the
enjoy.
only minor thing that I'm a little bit worried about is the amount is that they do say produce one piece of content a week. And granted, I don't know whether streaming counts as content, but you know, it's just throwing that out there. And I also mentioned the fact that I do this on Twitch occasionally as well. But
Well, how are you with reviewing perks or builds or even
I
just
have
individual?
absolutely no fucking idea. I'm just like, this looks
Because I'm
good.
pretty sure that if just streaming doesn't count, that definitely counts as good content. All Warframe sponsored people seem to do it, and again, it's good. Because what do you think a lot of people like? Even I have started doing lately. Whenever I encounter a new weapon, or like I want to go back to Ash, but is he still relevant? What's his build these days? Fuck it, I'll just look up a few videos, compare them, and draw my own conclusion. Again, that is content that they probably want you to make. Um,
I also think it doesn't really matter. They just want people doing stuff. I mean, that video from a while ago when we were doing that whole index codex mission. I mean, that's good content because it shows us having fun and it puts the game in a good light. So
and we kept going with the O_O face.
yeah, or the OWO in that case because I was editing it to put the W over the underscore for the score.
Yeah, the whole ooh ooh thing.
Ooh, ooh, notices your bulge.
God damn it. I knew that was going to be a thing the moment it came up. It was well animated. And even the how could this happen to me?
I should have stayed home and played the latest Call of Duty because this is so not cash money.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so
Speaking of
looking forward
Source
to next.
Filmmaker, I noticed during that animation the guy's doing basic like animation or using basic character movement as if you'd hit the record button. I actually had to do that for an animation recently because, well, given the fact that I doubt very few FNAF fag boys are here listening to this anyway because they took one look at the trailer and just went, yeah, this is not Friendly Foxy. I'm not going to sit around and listen to this. But guess what? I'm actually going to sit here and talk about Friendly Foxy because I am going to be doing it again, but I'm only bringing it back in name only. So what that basically means is that it's still technically Friendly Foxy. I mean, he turns up in it, but the rest of it is basically me doing whatever the hell I want.
Which is what I kept saying you should do, but you kept saying, Oh, but I'm gonna have to put up with them telling me, "Oh, that's not how it works."
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
not anymore. I've just gotten to the point where I'm just sitting there thinking, if they're just going to sit there and keep telling me that, I'm just going to keep taking the piss out of them.
But then again, I can relate to kind of what you say. Not that I get told this is not how it goes with here. That sometimes I do get it, but mainly I'm the one telling myself that. Even when I make this lewd stuff on, say, like FA with the first comic I'm trying to make it believable. Like I'm not having the characters straight up immediately the NSFW version of their models. I have it show in the background that they are still acting as themselves, but they come across those traits. I even have a comedic moment where Freddy doesn't know which how to fucking change the parts. And then you see the new programming take over. And that's all I'm going to say on that comic because it is not safe for work.
No, it's not for little children.
Oh, shall we talk about well, we've already talked about games and whatnot. I have a few other things on my list that I'd like to talk about.
Yeah, you actually write a list down whenever you do this sort of thing. I'm just like, I'll think of something on the fly and you know let it
I
all
usually do
flow
the same thing
naturally.
too, but I realize, I always have these sticky notes literally sitting here on my desktop, and fuck it, I'm gonna just use one. I forget. Do you even use that? Do you know that they even exist on your computer?
Nope, I had absolutely no idea, but mostly because I've got a little book next to me that I usually just write stuff down in anyway. So
Well,
you know,
if you type in sticky notes in your search thing, it's there and whatnot. But it's literally kind of like that. They represent sticky notes. You can change their colors, and when you type it in and whatnot, it then saves. And by default, if at least I assume by default, if you've used sticky notes and you've typed in something, when you boot up your computer, they will automatically boot up and be there exactly how you left them.
sounds just more like more boot up time needed.
Yep. So I've got two things here. One involves an Australian film, something I watched a long time ago. In fact, I kind of referenced it in our last D&D session.
Yeah, because
The
wasn't
other
that the
one,
little Napoleon thing
yes,
that you was singing that song from?
yeah, the song that Napoleon ends up the dog ends up singing during the opening credits. At least the credits start playing. Uh, Hang on, is it still called a credit opening when it's like the furthermore of the credit? Because I noticed at the start their credits do roll, but then they stop, and then there's movie, and then when there's another song thing soon after, the rest of the credits start playing. Is that
I don't
made a
know.
final?
I mean, I know in a lot of older films they used to have the credits come first. Like, normally what you would have as a credit roll at the end of the film, they would do at the very beginning of the film, and then once the film was over, that was it.
Hmm.
So it's not
But
like today where
anyway,
it comes at the end of the film, and by that point everybody's just gotten up and left.
I like how they included the original version of the song that Napoleon ends up singing in the credits, and unfortunately, I never bothered to look up who was that sang it, if it's from a band or something. But anyway, yeah, I had my Cobalt singing the only lyrics I could remember because again, I watched this when I was about 4 to 6 years old, and all I remember is "There's a new world out there coming to find me. Everything's laid out up ahead, nothing's behind me." I'm probably getting some of the lyrics wrong, but that's how I remember it. Unless I dream, unless I try, how will I know how far I'll fly?
That song does sound a little bit familiar. I swear I know I've heard it not from just you singing it, but I know I've heard that somewhere.
Well, it was a lovely song. I wouldn't be surprised if it was aired on radio.
Probably. Thinking back on that, sort of sticking to the same subject, I do remember you showing me that clip where he's like he's like looking at Sydney from what looks like a riverbank um on the other side of the sort of like the harbour area,
Yeah.
and he's like goodbye mum, goodbye dad, and all that stuff. And the funny thing is, I know a lot of people are probably sitting there thinking, wait, there's a riverbank on the other side of Sydney, and I'm just like, yeah, there definitely is, because I've fucking been there. I've actually seen that shit.
And I even remember pointing out to you that when I saw, I was curious to see if anyone bothered to review this old film, and someone did. But and I'm glad that she pointed this out. She only had access to the dubbed version. What? Dubbed?
That was a
Yeah,
dubbed version?
yeah. I think I showed you it. But yeah, there's like I don't know if it's anywhere else, but in America they dubbed over it. I guess they figured that the accents were too hard to understand. But I thought that just added to the again to the characters, because sometimes, like for example, the most obvious that even sometimes I had trouble understanding was Birdo, because he squawks his lines in the thickest Australian bogan accent I've ever heard. And even Napoleon, you can hear from now and then, is having trouble understanding him. So it's intentional.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
again, when I showed you back to back that scene from that, and also, by the way, I like how they have the habit of letting the animals do their own thing and they dub over it. Like, for example, Birdo randomly flinches, they dub it like it goes ah, or like when the dog starts fidgeting and the bird starts pecking him, and now they, would you stop fidgeting? Well, stop pecking me! Stop! You're driving me nuts!
There's probably somebody off camera just telling them, no, don't stop doing that. Behave.
Yeah, so for example, dubbed version. What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing up here? And the original version. What are you doing? What are you doing up here?
Completely different. America sucks the fun out of everything.
And one thing I did
Damn
not
dirty
notice
Yankees.
that one thing I did notice about this film, at least with the child actor who plays, well, Napoleon, compared to, like, for example, Disney's The Rescuers Land Down Under. The kid doesn't have a Aussie accent in The Rescuers Down Under, at least a
Mm-hmm.
thick one. Maybe he's trying to do it then. I did notice that he at least said the no worries phrase and whatnot. But I've noticed that, huh, the kid actor for Napoleon definitely is full on Australian. You can hear it. It's not just the words he's saying, just like in Lana Down Under, but I could hear the Aussie accent. Then again, it makes sense since it's an Australian film. But I was like, man, again, a child actor that's doing pretty good, and sounds like where he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to when Americans try and do a British accent, it's just like, yeah, we know that you're trying too hard with that one.
uh, oh my goodness.
Not
Um,
everybody sounds like the Queen, you know.
Although I admit I like at least imagining it, because I think I've talked to you about your accent, for example, how I always love hearing you,
Mm-hmm.
because you've got that accent, that very thick accent, and I really love it. And that tone, your voice, it's very comedic too.
I'm. Hmm. I'm not.
You don't know where the
I don't. I'm one of those people who finds taking compliments really difficult.
oh my goodness. Now, if I could jump back to gaming for a moment, I've got
Mm-hmm.
something funny to mention.
Yes.
Um, this friend of mine goes by the name of Mega Laggy Gamer. I recently got him interested in this game that I was surprised he never heard about. Well, he had heard about here and there, or at least seen the wallpaper, but he never really saw even any video of it. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Really good single player story driven game. Definitely give it a look.
Hmm.
But I got him interested. He decided to buy it, and he has not regretted it. But 2 days after he bought it, it goes on a 50% discount.
Damn it!
We laughed so much.
I
But
hate it when that happens.
I'm happy that he's saying that it was worth it. I'm not even. I don't think I'm even a quarter way through the game, and I'm already enjoying. He just can't stop talking about how beautiful it looks, and it really is beautiful. And he's just gushing over the mocap of the main character and her performance. And he even researched some funny things and interesting things about her. Like, I think I remember one thing that he mentioned is that apparently the actress for Senua is so shy that half the time when recordings, um, she asks the directors or anyone that's filming to try and not look at her and just turn away. The only exception is, of course, the person holding the camera.
Hmm.
Sometimes something that she has to follow. But after that, but other than that, she's very nervous, and I guess this is another reason why they picked her, because it's evident in her body language that she has something she can relate to this character. Then again, the first thing, again, I love everyone, almost every Let's Player's reaction to this when they notice this. The first thing to be credited is the mental health advisor.
Really?
Yeah. I love how almost everyone who notices that in their Let's Play immediately says mental health advisor. No, game, don't do this. You're crediting the mental health advisor first, as if I wasn't on edge enough with all these whispers in my ear. And let me tell you something. I loved Noob Mister's reaction when I showed him a little gameplay at the
Oh
start.
God, I just remembered which one you're talking about now. I thought we were talking about something completely different. Now I've just remembered.
Yes, and I could hear him go, "You're fucking weird."
I hate ASMR. Not because of the content that it is, it's just when I hear that somebody talking in one ear that close, oh, it puts me on edge. I
That's what
literally
you
start
experience
gripping
throughout
the
the
back
entire
of
game.
I literally start gripping the back of my neck and just feel like I just want to rip my spine out. Oh, I just fucking hate it.
Now you get an idea of what poor Senua has to go through her entire life.
Yeah, but she's hearing that in her head. I'm only hearing that in one ear. That's even worse.
Oh my
Oh God,
goodness.
could you imagine me doing a stream of that? I'm literally going to be
I was
spending my...
about to say, I
I would
love it.
literally spend the entire stream just cringing. Oh, just even thinking about it now is making me... Ugh. I hate it.
Nice and close so I can speak without alerting. That's the
Ugh.
line that really got me
Jeez,
the
I can
first time.
feel it. It's just this feeling right at the sort of back, just like the very bottom of my neck.
They did the binaural audio so well that even with the cheapest headphones, you can hear the direction and even judge the distance. And I
Hmm.
loved seeing the behind the scenes. They have a mannequin head with the binaural audio things left, right, and the actresses are just moving around and like they're speaking or mocking the mannequin, talking to the player, and sometimes whispering as if they're telling a story. They're even glancing off in the distance like they're talking about what they're looking at. I noticed that, and they really immerse themselves into playing the voices.
That's very clever. See, game
And I even
developers,
like,
this is how you do good stuff. Not
and I
online
like,
services.
and I like
Good
how,
single player experiences.
for example, the lines that you hear about, uh, like for example, when you take damage, she's injured, and you hear one of the other random voices walking around going, "Nobody cares." Seriously, literally one of those lines say that she will die, you will die, and um, she's weak, she's weak. They can see that she's weak, and all those other lines. And it's just awesome. And
That just
uh,
reminded me, you know the whole mechanic of if you let the corruption get to her head, you lose your save? Has anybody
yep.
actually confirmed that yet?
Um, can I? Okay, mega spoilers here. So anyone who's willing to play it, please do not listen right now. Okay, but all right, I'll be honest. Well, I'm also worried that Mega Laggy Gamer is going to be listening to this and will probably end up being spoiled. Mega Laggy Gamer, if you're listening to this, please stop listening now because this is a major spoiler in relation to that
Well, this is
thing
a
that.
major spoiler for me because I've not played it either.
Okay, do you want me to spoil it or not?
No!
Okay, then I will not. Never mind, guys. I'm not sure if you're still blocking it out as I warned, but we're not going to talk about it. But all I will say is it makes another point, and it works in its effectiveness.
Okay then.
Anyway, um, and dear goodness, I even watched someone who apparently is a descendant from fuck, I forgot where it was, but she's quite familiar with and a big fan of Norse mythology, and she recognized a lot of the stories. At the beginning of the game, there are these Nordic runes that are around the tapestries. You know, those little things that you look at to get
Mm-hmm.
bits and lores from Druth. She translated what the runes all said.
Really? What did they
Yeah,
say?
I can't remember. I think it was something called. I think it was something. See behind the mirror. God. God betrays. Truth lies. Something. I don't know. It was something along those words.
Hmm. Most interesting. So, yeah. Weird stuff.
And and again, if you do decide to play the game, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But like scary games, I don't see yourself ending up well. I'll just put it the way Soviet Wumble says it. I doubt you're going to grow the balls to do it.
Okay.
Oh, and here's the thing that I can't help but mention. I think I've mentioned this to you before.
Mm-hmm.
Soviet Womble's Let's Play of Alien Isolation reminded me of Noob Mister, except he had the balls. It's rare you see someone that genuinely scared. You can hear him panicking. Not exaggerated, he's actually scared. I can
Yeah,
hear
I
him
remember
shaking.
seeing those videos, and I'm just like, my god,
And
this
how
guy does
often do
not
you
like this game.
and how often do you hear someone that genuinely scared not only play this game, but actually fucking finish it?
Very rarely.
Because you mostly hear people exaggerate their scaredness, like those Let's Players, because, well, they're brave enough, but they're trying to act like they're not because they know that's what people want. But in reality, most people that are afraid of this stuff wouldn't even bother playing it in the first place.
Yeah, like me,
But
for example.
yes, but if you actually went through and did it, noob, you'd be just like Soviet Wombo. That rare, generally scared, don't play these types of games, but I'm doing it anyway, and you're gonna get full, no exaggeration on my end. I'm gonna be scared. You're gonna know it. That is genuine quality entertainment with no exaggerations or filters to enhance its effectiveness. It's pure, raw, true emotion. You know?
Yeah, genuine, I don't have any balls. They haven't dropped yet, or they were surgically removed.
Oh my goodness. You know, half of the time I don't know what words I need to say or look for, but my goodness. When I said those couple of words and realized, isn't Asperger's syndrome, or at least the one I've got, supposed to mean that I have trouble understanding or predicting emotion?
I
And I just
don't
and
know.
I've noticed lately I've been having to, well, I need to understand this stuff, like especially when I've been making those comics and whatnot. And I've been getting for example, some comments about how the facial expressions are on par. I'm like, I just remembered.
Apparently,
I
I just googled this.
Yeah.
The disorder is characterized by significant difficulties in social, intellectual, and non-verbal communication, along with restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior and interests.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least
So
that's
basically,
what Google says anyway. Or oh, but then again, it comes from Wikipedia, so take that description with a grain of salt.
but but yeah, and I just realized, jeez. Now that I think about it, I couldn't have pictured myself having to try and not only understand emotions, but try to use them to tell a story.
Hmm.
But I'm actually doing
Very, 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 very difficult.
it. Oh my goodness. Uh, so what else have you got to discuss? Because I literally have now finished everything on my list. The
You've
Napoleon.
literally gone
The
through
hell?
your list. Now here's mine.
I usually
Um.
have 2 to 3 things on my list because I usually hope that I end up dragging them out.
Well, here's what's on my list: 2 pints of semi-skimmed, half a dozen eggs, and a picture frame with a knighthood. That. Oh no, wait, wrong list. Well, yeah. Guild Wars 2 latest living story patch came out. All I will say is, ArenaNet, we fucking called it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, needless to say that something happened to a certain character, and we were just like, but wait, didn't that character do a thing earlier on, and because of who they are, they can do this, and sure enough, yeah, that happens. Oh, do you want to know a very, very small, tiny little spoiler?
Ah, go ahead.
Aurene actually talks now.
Yay!
So, and we also do another go inside an elder dragon and fight their conscious thing again,
Looking forward
which
to
is
that.
actually a pretty decent fight, I must admit. Not too challenging, but
I still will never forget how much fun I had fighting Modromorph in the personal story thing because again, I realized my character literally has a great sword that has a skin that is basically a great chain sword.
yeah, a great
So
chainsword, which I
I kept
still don't
amusing
think you can
everyone.
get anymore, can you?
No, you can't. That's why it was expensive as fuck. But and also it emits a chainsaw sound. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was amusing a lot of people. I was joining in on random parties just to fight alongside with them in that story thing. I kept texting on chat saying, "I'm going to make a house out of you, Mordremov. I've got the tools to do it." Everyone's just going XD lol. I'm just going, "Oh my god, this is genius."
That reminded me of a funny time I had when I was doing I can't remember if it was a fractal run or when this dungeon was still like a full implemented thing back when they were doing the whole temporary content thing. Um, but somebody in our party was called Naked or something. Or oh no, they were called Nude something. And somebody in and they were I think somebody was leading the way and somebody typed in the chat, "I will follow you nude." And I immediately just typed in XD lol. And the person just looked at the comment and just went, "I did not realize I just said that." Hang on, let me try and
Oh
see if I
my
can
god.
find the screenshot. I know it's
Oh,
in
I
here.
have to ask. Again, I know I think I talked about this last podcast when we were talking about the Modromov storyline and how ArenaNet you told us that ArenaNet hinted that we probably will want to level up a Asura character so we can no
Sylvari,
sir
not an Asura.
Sylvari, sorry, Asura Sylvari and uh shit, what was that other Solarians from Mass Effect? They have such similar pronunciations, at least in my opinion, that I mix them up. Like I say Solarian when I meant to say Asura, or Sylvari, but when I meant to say Solarian, you know?
Hmm. Well, unfortunately, I
Well,
can't seem to
anyways,
find this one screenshot I'm trying to find unless I put it
I
in here.
put this, but I was meaning to ask you, have you had any unique, what you're pretty sure was unique dialogue you heard based on your character's either gender or race?
Not recently, no. I think Asurans are a bit too generic in terms of Guild Wars stuff.
Because
And
again, I do remember talking to I think I told you that I can't remember if I said this last podcast or if I was just telling you privately and not in the podcast. But what's the name of the main human character again?
Logan?
Logan. Okay, in the one of the Living Story ones where you're outside of,
Yeah, you said that he actually says something. It refers to the fact that you're a char or something.
and I'm going in the main hall area to meet and speak with the Queen, and he said, "I got to admit, never imagined to attend a meeting like this with a Char, but I'm glad it's you."
Hmm. Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, again, I was like, "Holy shit! Did I just hear a specific race dialogue?"
It's a bit like the fact that Timey calls you Scruffy or something, doesn't she?
Yeah, I know. I heard something along the lines of Scruffy number two, and it said, "No, that's not becoming with a thing. That's not becoming a thing with me too. Too late." And I even noticed that sometimes in the living story, not the living story, in the living world, not the living story, but the open world, sometimes even the NPCs refer to it, like that bar at the main area in Path of Fire. or these guys. There are these. I forgot what they belong to, but they're talking about a possible raid or a heist, and and apparently from what I've seen from others, they point out your rates. Like for example, I heard one saying, "Shh, I think that Char is listening to us."
All that I know is that because I'm an Asura, and of course Taimi's an Asura, I think at one point, I can't remember where in the story it was, she does make a reference to something I chose during my character creation, because with Asurans you can choose which college you attended
Oh,
based on
what did
that, and
she say about the college
I
you
think she
attended?
does mention the fact that I went with like the College of Statics or something, or Synergetics or something.
Did she say something along the lines of, "You're the College of Statics, you tell me"?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my
Or,
goodness.
you're not like, you did study in this college, so you probably might have a bit more knowledge on that. Or, well, you did study in this college, so you obviously wouldn't really have much interest in regards to that. So, yeah.
Again, it would be nice if there was a lot more of that, but I'm glad that they're. I know that they're at least capable of doing it.
Hmm. It is difficult to write for that stuff.
Yeah, considering again the size of the whole fucking game, it's an MMO. There are again essentially basically how many races are there?
There's five, then there's nine classes, and then
There's
you've
five.
got
So
all.
multiply that by two, and well, you've got basically 10 characters. Because again, with one race, you have one actor and one actress for that race.
Yeah, basically
So
one for the male, one for the female.
they've had their hands done a lot with having all 10 of the actors in general do the same line and sometimes their own interpretations. Like I noticed that when I give the speech at the end of the Path of Fire one, what my character references when what was the name of that dragon that was made of corrupting crystal? He mentions
Krakatorik?
that, yeah, was it Kralkatorrik? Oh yeah, it is Kralkatorrik. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, where he mentions that Kralkatorrik passed over his homeland, and that's also referenced when you join the Vigil
Yeah,
because the leader is a Char, and
because
yeah, she mentioned that event. And I do remember that. And I do remember that in the first game too. And my character references that in the speech. So again, I'm glad that in Path of Fire, I noticed that they were adding some small little tweaks to dialogue or little references to your character, either by gender or by race.
lots of little details like that you see.
And again,
Much better than World of Warcraft, where it's just, yeah, the story's about the Horde. What about the Alliance? Ah, fuck the Alliance. We're talking about the Horde.
are people still bitching that the Alliance finally has something that the Horde wishes they had, and that was furry wolves?
I don't know. To be perfectly honest,
Origins, I believe they're
the
called.
reason why I say that is because they've done another Battle for Azeroth trailer, and guess what? It's based on the Horde again. It's just like, oh, god damn it, we don't care. Try focusing a little bit more on the Alliance, please. It seems like every fucking expansion that they do, it's more to do
To
with
be
the Horde.
fair, to be fair, it's because well they're not humans, and a lot of people when they think of World of Warcraft, they think of the orcs. They don't think about the humans.
That's
It's
true.
unfortunate. It's like again, it's like in Mass Effect. How all of the most boring characters I notice that a lot of people always find the most boring are always the down to earth human characters. They always love the well out of this world alien characters because they're interesting immediately by visuals, even more so by performance from the actors or actresses, and even more with their lore. Of course, it would a large majority of the content would focus on the horde.
Hmm. Although, granted, Wrath of the Lich King was a little bit more alliance focused, considering
Yeah,
the Lich
Arthas.
King was human at one point, and yeah,
Speaking of which, I have to make a reference. Tell me if you get it.
Mhm.
Arthas, time for bed. No, 5 more minutes. Get off the computer now. You're not my real dad.
No, you're losing me on that one.
It's a very, very old machinima called World of Warcraft. It's basically the reverse. The all the heroes in the Warcraft universe, their daily jobs is well being heroes, and they're like, yeah, it's just another day in the office, and they're like, let's go chill and escape reality. Are you guys up for some World of Warcraft? So they basically are playing an online MMO that's basically
I think I do remember that one very,
yes,
very vaguely.
and it's just our daily lives. And they even say it like at the end when they're logging off, it says, "Well, I gotta log off. I got guard duty in Agravar tomorrow." And then the night owl says, "Can't believe I pay 15 gold a month for this." Meets Dragon Slaying. Yep, they all say.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good old machinima. Again, to those who have stuck this far, we like to show our gratitude by allowing you to look up this very old gem and just be entertained by some comedy gold.
And I will also take this opportunity to laugh at the fact that you're still paying $15 a month for this shit.
Also, I have to say, this is also a time where you can get a little bit nostalgic because it was back when machinima was machinima.
Not non-existent as it is apparently now. Because I come to think of it, I'm not actually 100% sure what happened with it. All that I know is that it got bought out by a company. They then went and privated and unlisted a load of their videos. And then, as far as I'm aware, they then went and shut the whole company down.
And it didn't help that, well, before all of that, it went from machinimas to Let's Plays.
Hmm.
I said just millions of Let's Plays.
Yeah, Machinima kind of lost. Then again, this is a whole different can of worms about what exactly you do, what exactly do networks really do. I think that networks is actually a bit of a misleading term. We really shouldn't be calling them networks. We should be calling them agents. Because if their job is to help us promote our content, that is what they should be doing. They shouldn't just be sitting there going, oh, we're raking in all this money that technically isn't ours because, most of it's got to go back out to the YouTubers and the content creators. I really think that what they should be doing is actively trying to find deals for these people and, properly working with them. This does mean that they will probably need to be very, very selective on who they actually choose for who they invite, but I think that would be a much better way of looking at it. Call them agents, not networks, because then it technically justifies the cut that they have to take, because they're helping you find the work. And I'm bringing this up now because I recently got an email through from my network because I was having a conversation with the one of the partner managers or one of the talent acquisition managers with the company that I'm with or with the network that I'm with, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, is there anything that you would like us to help with?" And I was just like, "Well, I'm trying to do this at the moment, but I don't think there's anything that the network could reasonably do to help me with that." And he's just like, "Well, actually, we're the network. We could go to these places and ask them if they would be willing to supply you with stuff. Like VR equipment, for example." So yes, I am actually getting my YouTube network at the moment into looking to see whether they can find somebody to supply me with VR equipment. Which I guess saves the whole problem of trying to buy it myself, which is proving to be very difficult, so yeah. Even though a lot of people say a lot of negative things about networks, when they do help you, they help you. Or unless it's just my particular network are just being very, very good. I don't know.
And I'll be so jealous that they even provide you the trackers, or worse for me, better for you, the Nux.
I don't know whether they will do that. Because at the moment, with how my channel is at the moment, any normal standing person would look at 185,000 subscribers and my engagement and go, nah, it's not really worth it. But the
I
guy I
know.
was emailing did have a point. If you don't ask, you will always have a negative answer. And that answer will always either be I don't know or no, I don't think so. But at least if you ask, you find out. Because what's the worst they're going to say? No. So there you have it, folks. But I will say this, be careful who you sign up with. Really, really grind them with questions. Always keep
Yep.
asking things. What do you do with this? What do you do with that? What kind of
And
revenue share
don't
do I get? What kind of things do you offer? Make sure the
and
deal
don't
is good
be a
for
DSP.
you.
Yeah, don't be a DSP with it.
Yeah, and don't sit there and go, everything went wrong on YouTube, because it didn't. Well, at least YouTube didn't really go bad around about the time that he started going bad. And the fun is, this is okay. Quick little DSP story I found out about. Apparently, he was supposed to have been turning up on some podcast recently, but he turned the opportunity down because he was worried about the trolls. He's literally gotten to the point where trolls for him are just making him so paranoid that he is turning down situations or opportunities like this just because he's worried. Oh, well, I'm just gonna go and get a lot. I'm just gonna end up getting all the trolls coming onto the stream and being mean to me, and all my detractors are just gonna say nasty things. This guy's. It's just like Phil. Take off the fucking tinfoil hat already, would ya? Just an idiot. Dumb pompous shit. That's what DSP stand. No, that would be dumbass shit-faced panini. There. There's a dumbass shit-faced panini. That's what DSP stands for. I actually got the S and the P backwards there for a second, but I is the stupids. Like, I don't. How do you spell DSP? DPS! Yes, that is correct! No, wait a minute, it's not. Oh, is it?
Well, shall we wrap it up here? I'm sure we've gone on
Yes,
long
I
enough.
think I think we've bored enough people to tears as it is. So, you got anything you want to add, Mikey, or
Um, just again, I think this was just a nice, another successful little podcast, and I am still enjoying this.
we talk about the most interesting of things?
And again, I always worry when talking about games because again, I realize I've got a lot of games I've hold on to, but I haven't gotten any new ones. I'm not someone who just gets the newest game or whatnot. I'm still stuck with the few couple of games I play religiously. Warframe and, well, Payday 2 VR and VR Chat. Those are the ones you'll see me in most of the time. That's about it.
I really still do think that you should start your own YouTube gaming career because you would do well at it. I'm still
Yeah,
convinced
but
that would be a good thing.
one, I'll get bored of it really quickly and decide not to do it. And second, I I get nervous on the spot and I just don't want to. Again, I both don't know what to say, and at the same time, I'm constantly criticizing myself. No, that's what every gamer does. Or like saying, don't do an intro, but at the same time, probably do an intro because it's both cliche to do an intro and it's cliche to not do an intro and point it out that you don't do an intro because others do an intro. It's a never and it's there's no win for me in my eyes.
Hmm.
I the whole problem is just doing it. So I don't want to do it. And again, it's funny that you mentioned that. You remember when I mentioned how that I was reminded that Warframe does have open mics?
Mm-hmm.
When I did join these random people that were talking, I spoke for a short moment and they immediately asked, "Are you a YouTuber?" Wait, what? You sound like you have the voice for it. You
Exactly. See, even they agree with me on that.
But then again, it's probably just your and their perspective. I once had people saying that I apparently sounded like Lester from GTA when I was playing Payday 2. And when I even did a Tumblr thing about it when I used to do Tumblr, and even asked a few friends, and I think you were even one of them. no one else agreed.
Might be a perspective thing then.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Still think you should do YouTube though.
I prefer.
Anyway, folks, on that
Wait.
bombshell.
Hold on.
What?
I will say this though. I don't want to do YouTube gaming myself, but I do want to tag along with others. I guess I just feel safer. I'm like, I know my channel's been dead for all this time because I barely do anything on it. So even if I do start, I'll be in the same situation as you. I may have all these subscribers, but half of them are dead or even just like don't know of me anymore or just like follow me elsewhere or forgotten about me. I'll just besides, again, my gaming videos always have like my X-Men Wolverine one had only 300 viewers. 300. It didn't go any higher than that. So again, my gaming videos I realized that I didn't do voice acting over or whatnot doesn't get barely anything. So I'd rather just tag along with someone else's channel or like just have cameos rather than be my own thing.
Okay.
It's like again, the simplest way I can put it is I'd rather follow orders than try to be the leader.
Yeah, I'm kind of a bit like that as well, but I think that's more of a social anxiety. But then even then, I like start being the leader, but then I sort of like casually hand it off to somebody else once they start taking command.
Like with me when I talk in the podcast, right?
Yep. Anyway, folks, speaking of which, as I was saying, on that bombshell, that is the end of the podcast. So, thank you for listening, watching, or whatever it is you were doing to consume this type of media. And as always, a heavy weapons guy says.
Okay, enough.